Hello guys, today we're rewatching, like, what are you doing? The whole midnight thing after a year I watched it. I watched it in like October of 2022, like a year ago. So it's like literally about to be a year. Probably when I publish it's about to be a year. So I was like, okay, let's go through what I watched during that time. And the first thing I watched is Cinema Therapy. I think I saw it halfway and then I started watching. But I'm gonna rewatch the whole thing and then comment on it. Disclaimer: I am not a professional. I am not like I don't have degrees. Blah blah blah. I just watch a lot of videos on like midnight, etc. Blah blah blah. This is like so far the closest thing to maybe what I have. I don't know. A lot of it was just like because it's just too familiar. Familiar, that's the right word. It's like it's too real. I was like, oh wait, this happens like a lot. So far, because when I watched it, it was just too relatable. So I'm gonna rewatch it. I'm gonna give my sense on what I know from watching videos and reading and stuff. But I am not a professional. I'm gonna rewatch the Cinema Therapy, and then I'm gonna rewatch the Making of Moon Knight, and I'm gonna rewatch the Moon Knight series. The Moon Knight series, I'm gonna do like the lore, the Easter eggs, and the DID aspect, like both of it. Because I only see like one or another, and most of it, if it's just Easter egg, it gets a lot of DID things wrong. I love the lore of Moon Knight, but also, like to learn a lot of other stuff too. So psychology of a hero, Moon Knight, and dissociative disorder. So I followed Cinema Therapy for a while, and they did like Anakin stuff, and I saw this pop up. I think I saw this pop up, and I was like, oh, I should watch this. And I watched this, and halfway through, I was like, oh, yeah, I should watch Midnight because I did watch like a little bit of Midnight, like snippets when it was coming out, but I didn't know what it was about really. So I was like, oh, I should watch it. I mean, I was like, and Star Wars is literally, my thing. I was like, wait, what? Oh, excuse me. And that's where I got interested in more about the idea. Is this accurate? Like, not like accurate, because I feel like it's kind of impossible to be 100% accurate, because even like just my disability, like fibromyalgia, like everyone presents it differently. And there's some things where like obviously like it's not, but a lot of things it's just like so hard to be 100% accurate. But, we're gonna watch this. I'm gonna pause it and I'm gonna say my sense, whatever. Without love. I didn't watch some of his other movies. They're gold. That is true most of the time. Not all the time. It's just like an inconvenience almost, where it's like, oh, it's just like another storyline to explain certain things, rather than like being a part of it. This is what it gets. I just think there's a lot of stuff before this part. This part, you're like, what? Excuse me, huh? Getting nervous. This part kind of reminds me when the camera goes back and forth. Reminds me like a Disney attraction. I forgot what attraction it is, but it's like all like there's like the skipper, but it's not a skipper. But it's like this guy or girl there, and they're like pointing out things happening around everyone, and like the set piece is moving, and I forgot what it's called. Like I do like how at first Mark is like holding himself like Steven, right? And then it's like cut. And that's not really a cut, but then it's like he shows himself. And then you see all the mirrors. With mirrors is also like a little trippy thing. And you see all the mirrors. And you see Jamar just start walking and you're like, what? Like, people are like, you see his mind or something. Like you try to be in that situation. Can you imagine? You're like, oh, you know these things about Egyptian stuff, right? And so they come to life. It is a sign of the music. I do like it how like it's blurry. It's really blurry until Mark's like, hey, look at me! And it gets really focused, and it's like the focal point, the focus lens. The focal point changes. Like the blurriness in the background, I forgot what it's called. Changes, and it's like, and then all the mirror is just like quiet. It's quiet. And it's like, I love film too, so it's like you don't need to show everything to show everything. Implication also talked about it in an interview. It's what's implied in your imagination. You can do sometimes more That's why a lot of people say they like the books better than the movie, because your imagination is hard to compete, you know?
I just love telling stories and making pictures.
Me too.
So
I guess it like depends on like the system. Some people like rapid switch a lot, but I feel like what they're referring to is like co-consciousness, because you can be co-conscious being like two or more authors present in a situation, this world, outer world. So if they're like co-conscious, they don't have to fully switch to talk. So it doesn't have to be like a full switch, like a full switch. But switch, you don't have to switch fully to talk. They could just be co-con and talk. Or it could be that you could be mostly fronting me in the front, here present in this outer world. And I could just be in the background a little bit. But like the hearing the voices is like, I know it's like different for every system. Some people it's like really clear. Some people it's harder to hear. Or they can hear something, but it's more like distorted. Or it's like completely nothing. There's a scale. It's like autism. There's a scale to this. So it's kind of like the covert or overt system. Overt and overt. And here I guess it's more like overt system. A lot of systems used to be covert, where you can't tell. You're just like, oh, they're just acting a little weird, a little different. But it's like everyone acts a little different sometimes, so you don't really notice it. The ring system also did a good video. Is like how much someone is covert because of the system or because of society. Are you overt? Like you actually are overt, but because of society you're more covert? Or are you actually, it's like this whole thing. But so system, they need to be more overt to survive. They need to be more covert to survive. Or maybe they are really overt, but that everyone just thinks that's normal. So it's like, I mean, no, if it's like the experimental video where they're like, just watch this video. And actually in the background, like 10 things were changing, but like if no one ever mentioned to you, you never know. And when they're like, oh, did you notice 10 things changed in the background? You're like, wait, what? So unless like someone points it out to you, a lot of time it could be really obvious, but you're not gonna know. That's what it feels like. I like this part as in like, what happened? But this part is interesting, right? Everyone, I mean, it's not like confirmed, but everyone believes this isn't Mark, because he doesn't really act like Mark, in my opinion. And it is normal to mask. And I like how it's like a hard cut. I feel like it. Can we just get a moment to appreciate Oscar guys again, Ethan Hawke? So I did hear like Ethan Hawke have to take this differently, because a lot of times like the evil villain has all these mental whatever, so he had to play that more calm type, the doctor type. I do like how he's masking. I mean, I don't like that people have to do that with anything, but it is the reality of which we live in. So it's kind of like cool. It's like, oh, it's really kind of obvious because you know. It's like someone pointing out to you. It's like when there's memes like you can't unsee it because someone pointed out to you. It's kind of like that. And plus, this isn't a real psychiatrist place because there's stuff on the desk. There's sharp objects on the desk, and that's something you don't see in those kind of places. A lot of things that you do see are symbolic, which is a lot of times what the inner world is symbolizing different things and different whatever. I like how Jake is literally just saying something to please what you say, because it's probably true a lot of times. He's just listening, he's like, I'm just gonna say what you want me to say, and we're gonna move on, okay? Yeah, or maybe a psycho. I don't think the intention did it, but this is like a representation of how there could be an interjector. So those interjects are like an alter. It's based off of either people that existed or exist factors. If they are in like any type of medium that's fictional, then it's fictive. They're represented it's like yeah, Mark and Randall always do this series together. That's their comfort movie. They act it out all the time, Or I also like how they're like, if you compare Dr. Stephen Grant from the Tomb Buster movie to Stephen Grant in the MCU and the TV show, they're not 100% similar, because that's usually the case for any type of interject. It's not the carbon copy. Obviously there's some stuff like that's true, like dialect, we're the Egyptian, like, liking those things. But a lot of other stuff, it's like, it's different. So that's cool. It is kind of like Marvel, where it's like every illustration is different. Whoever's writing it, or even like fan fiction, or a TV series, or like a movie, or even like musicals, like all these different versions of this character. It's kind of like interesting, because when Dangerous Steering Grant has no fear, it's like, oh, you're like, no, no, no. I didn't cry, but it's like, but it's still, it's like, actually, Oscar Isaac said in an interview of reading Golden Derby, Golden Derby, Golden Derby. He actually said he's the one that actually put it in there because he didn't want to shy away from like kill stuff that happens, you know what I'm saying? Which is, I feel like that's good because a lot of people are like, oh, it's nothing, it's just a little thing, it was nothing. But you know, taking things seriously like this is good because these things do happen. You're like, how can it happen? It's your mom, it's your dad, or it's whoever. How can someone, even if they're not connected, how can someone do this to a child? Some people are just, you know, I don't know, man. It's like, some people just do things that you can't fathom, but that doesn't mean it's not real. It's you know.
The point of me what to be a stress ball.
This is what it's like. It's like, oh my, bro. You're like, what? Excuse me. And then like, is this too real? Like the whole point of not knowing for a while. Some people don't know until like, they maybe not know forever. It's supposed to be that you don't know. Whoever that person that doesn't know. Or it could be multiple parts that doesn't know. And that's the whole point. It's like, bro, it's just, so it's like, so it's just like, oh man, it's just too true. Oh. Some parts may not know, like, at all anything. Some parts, like Mark, may have certain inclination, but not all things. And some parts may know everything. It's like a spectrum. It's a spectrum. It's a freaking spectrum. When I get nervous, I start to smile. That's just a thing I do. So don't take it I'm like doing something, whatever it means. I'm nervous, so I smile. Cause it's just too real. It's just too real. Like for me, I don't know if I have it, but a lot of things I didn't know until I talked to my mom, and I was like, "Excuse me, what?" Like, oh no. Oh. All those things are like kind of there to hint that certain things could happen. You just dismiss it. Like, you dismiss it. Because it's like a natural thing too. I always said, well, this isn't normal for everyone, but this is the thing I experience. I don't even really know what it is. I'm just not gonna tell anyone about it. And that was literally until I saw it. And I was like, well, I don't have DID, but like this is what happens all the time. So I guess other people can experience it, and that's why I wanted to learn more about stuff. I thought I was alone, so I couldn't talk about it, any of these things, for like so long. So when that made me be like, oh, it made me be seen, even though I didn't know what they even meant. I was like, this is literally me. This is what I go through on a daily basis. Wowzers, it is true. There could be like a spectrum, like even just say this one trauma, right? One trauma. One part can remember it visually. One part can remember the time and date, or one part can remember the smell. One part can remember the sensation. One part can remember the hearing, the sight, whatever. Like it could, we all have like, you know, different senses. So that one sense could be one part carrying. That's why you could get a flashback. Like I got a lot of times, and I didn't know why. I was like, why am I having like this really weird panic attack that I can't explain? And I was like, oh, now I understand, and I get the context of why. Because a lot of times you don't get the context, you just get one part of it, like this, why, like this panic attack. I just thought I was having like a normal panic attack. It was something totally different. And when I connected it, panic attack starts emerging, I can help it, and I can calm it down like really easy. It's like, what? It's like, wait, what? Wait, excuse me, what? Excuse me, what? It's like, wait, what? Huh? The phone? Wait, what? The postcard? The postcard? The phone? That was what? And this doesn't explain everything, because the Shiva, which we saw Mark's mom, you know, Mark said, hey, that's when the dissociative barrier started to like break down in a way, which is true a lot of times, where you either get these information when you're like in your 40s because your body and your mind feels safe, or something like major happens, a lot of stressor, which activates like all these things, or it's like activates, but it's like you notice it more because it's just you're just so stressed. So it's like kind of like what happened here, where Mark was easily be able to like cut off Steven and let him out only at certain times, but since the Shiva brought up past trauma, which made it so that didn't work anymore. I like how even all the parties, when they get overwhelmed, they went to the inner world. And you can even see in their faces in the inner world, they look different, as in Jake has a lot of band-aids, Mark somewhat. Steven doesn't have any representation. It's like, I remember when Split was coming out. I never watched it, but I did see the trailer and I was like, what the heck is this? Is not probably because I always did have like disabilities even before then, like fibromyalgia, and I was always told I'm faking it, or it's like, how can you have a disorder? You're only like a child. It's like, what? This really doesn't discriminate on what I look like, okay? Freak you out. And the Golden Derby, Oscar, I'm looking at it because my went to the whole thing really was through Steven, and that's the way the script was written. You're with Steven for 2 full episodes until Mark really shows up, which is true. He wanted to be like, hey, Steven is also a person too. Like, come on. And that is true. Like, yeah, there's like different theories of how it happens. Like, one is like structural dissociation theory, which is like everyone is a multiple person. That's why at kids, all of a sudden they're really hungry, and all of a sudden they're really mad, they're really frustrated, and like, and they're like crying 1 second, another second they're like freaking out. So that's like the leading theory is. So if there is structural dissociation, that means there's not really like a core identity, or there could be someone that really identifies with a body, name, all this other stuff. The other parts that don't really identify with the outside body are still as much as real as the person that does. That's what structural dissociation is. Steven doesn't identify with the body, or he kind of does. He not really with the name or like Mark's backstory, but he's still a person, you know. He's still real. Hey, it's real. You're a real boy. So I feel like either way, they did it really well, because say the structural dissociation theory, which is like the leading, that means there's not really a core, and there's like all these ego states, boop, 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 and they can't come together because they're like, we kind of conflict each other. You want this, I want this, not the same thing, you know. But they can't come together at the age of like 6 through 9. That's when like it's like kind of like Inside Out at the end. Spoilers, Inside Out at the end, with all like different emotions. They're like 2 colored balls, and all of them have like 2 emotions to it. I guess that's like ego states, when all them like fuse together. Yeah, they can't really happen, you know. Before then, if there is trauma, it could. It's not all the time, but it could happen. You can't fuse together. So all these different parts, ego states, grow and they become their own person. So you could say technically like 10% or whatever percent, little bit of each part makes up a original. Let's say if there even is like final fusion, it's not gonna be the same person that it was if that person didn't have DNA, you know what I'm saying? So they still made it. So it's like, hey, this person, Steven, he's still as much as a person as Mark. So either way, I feel like it's, in my opinion, it's good. I don't know. That is true with like every part, there's a logical explanation. Why are you this age? Why are you this gender? Why do you have this dialect? Or why do you like these certain things? Why do you act loud in these certain things? Most of the time, there's usually a reason to it. Steven, like, happy go lucky. Let's go. Nothing really happened. Ha ha ha. Like, he can have like an outward appearance. Steven can have outward appearance to the public as someone that didn't go through. I do like how this part, it's like Steven is emotionally experienced what Mark experienced when he was younger, and it's just like, what the freak? This part you just want to cry. I don't really cry with you. You're still just like, Mark, you know, when he puts the yarmulke down, and he picks it back up. It's like, you know, because it has so much symbol. Like, the yarmulke is like, represents his family, represents these things that he feels upset about, he can't control, and then but then he picks it back up because he's sorry. Yeah, he's watching himself, which you just want to just like, I don't know, man. You just want to do something about it. You just want to do something about it. You know, you can see us even like, even though he just woke up randomly somewhere, he's like, oh, it's just a thing that happens. Because you don't really think about these things, you know what I'm saying? And like someone's like, so the moment where I started bleeding, that's like a good, because bleeding is also like a term in the idea where you feel the other parts, emotion. The barriers started breaking down here, you know, because a lot of traumatic things. The Shiva reminded him, had made him confront more to what happened to him when he was younger. The brain be like, oh no, this is not okay. Yeah, they filmed it. Oscar Isaac, his brother Michael. It's really cool. They did it together. So sometimes, you know, like the stuff that we can see. Well, even like the camera trick is so cool. Like the whip pan made us feel like it's like what? Which it is possible in a world for like the person that identify with the body most to go inside of. I guess it's like, you could say more, not rare, but it's like less. Every time I hear someone, it's like the person that identify with the body most, it's hard for them to go into the world, but there's still other systems that can go, and other systems that can't. So it just really depends, you know. You just want to cry here. You just want to cry. Because people always say a lot of time, like, Mark, he's a protector of Steven, like, all this stuff. But that's, like, vice versa is also true. Steven's also protecting Mark. Mark is protecting Steven. It's, like, this double thing, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's, like, the whole point of acting, isn't it? Like, you're acting, and a lot of time, even you can have a specific line, like oranges. I don't know. But depending on what the other person replied, if like is saying to you, you're gonna react to how you say oranges differently. What is Mark gonna say? What is Steven? How he's gonna say? How am I gonna say? How Mark is gonna say? It's like all this thing. You have to make sure you know what you're doing. Blocking. Acting is all about bouncing off of each other if you're doing more than one person. But also, guys, have to be like, okay, what is Mark saying? What is Steven saying? A lot of times, if you experience a lot of things, when things are safe, a lot of times safe. Feeling safe could feel dangerous, so it is kind of like a thing that's like, okay, everything just seems too good to be true. Oh no, and that's like what made them balance. It's not the memory showing them each other, like what Mark could he could emit to, you know. It's like a frozen moment. It really is. It's like my favorite line. That's like my favorite line. Let's go. True before without knowing what the heck was going on. But it's too true. This is real. This is healthy multiplicity. That's just what they do. It's like they're fighting, and it's so cool because they're like switching. That's healthy multiplicity. Let's go.
Thank you for representing and doing it well and doing your research. Yes. We watch movies and Disney Plus series.
I love this. I love it. Okay, but I guess one thing that's different is like fusion versus integration. What I talked about. Fusion is when two parts mush together, and they're a new part now. So all those different memories or different whatever come together, and it's a new part. Or it could be like 50-50 equally, or it could be one. You can see when they fuse together, the one part is more dominant. It is kind of like, I love genes and science. It is kind of like that, where it could be random, or it could be that's intentional, where one part is out. Like they did two part did fuse, but one part is more dominant. It is kind of like DNA, where genes, where you may get more aspects of your biological mother or your biological father. They could change their name. They could stay with one of the names. I mean, it's really like it's system to system, people to people, author to author. It's not really like a set thing. Integration is when you're working together more, when you're getting more memories from each other. You're not losing time, whatever that. Because there's different types of amnesia. Let's go healthy multiplicity, like in the end. Mark, Steven, fighting together. Whoa, blah, 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 blah. It's so cool. It's so cool, man. I'm gonna link in the description, like, other articles and stuff that you can read. I'm still gonna do other videos of making the Moon Knight and then Moon Knight, and so way I can break down even more. Like, this is just a surface. This is just a surface, buddy. It's just a surface. When I watched it, I kind of knew about DD. I didn't really know about OSDD 1B. But I was like, okay, this is weird. This happens to me all the time. This literally is like a carbon copy. I always had a hard time explaining these different things I just couldn't explain. And I'm like, oh, I can show this to my mom and help her better understand. Cause like, this is what happens all the time. Different parts can have different dialects or higher voices, lower voices, because what type of muscle you use is different. That's how it freaking works. Closest thing. So, yeah. Let's go interjects, you know what I'm saying? That's actually, for me, the first, I guess if I do have DID, the first alter that I was able to see was, you could say, the interject. Because that's why for so long I thought it was like acting. Because I was like, I look like this character that I know, that I watched a couple of times. Why? For so long I thought I was like glitching up, like, is it possible to get stuck in character? Like, what is going on? Am I acting so hard I don't know I'm acting? Is that possible? I feel like I'm in there for Jay's interject, fictitious interject, fictional interject. Let's go, you know what I'm saying? See you guys later. See you later. Thank you for watching this, I don't know how many minutes video, because I'm gonna cut it down. But thank you for watching this video. Wait for more, but thank you for this video. Bye. Hey, Paul, let's go.